Course Wrestling Network. This is Aftermath of Dynamite. It is Thursday night, September 28th. I'm here with the Ruby Queen of WWN or WNW, Workhorse Wrestling Network. Let's put it that way. Um, and we're here to talk about the week in AEW, starting with Rampage of the 22nd, Collision of the 23rd, so this last weekend, and Dynamite of last night. And then we'll talk quickly about WrestleDream on Sunday. So we'll just crack on and get the festivities started. Uh, we'll
Yes.
talk about Rampage from 9/22. It started off with Darby Allen and Sting Darby Allen and Sting versus Luchasaurus and Christian Cage. Um, it was it was a tag team match, and Nick Wayne ended up coming out on the ring apron, or not the ring apron, but out
Mm-hmm.
on the and distracting Christian, and Darby got the roll up for the pin. It was an okay match. What'd you think?
Yeah, like Sting can't lose. So you really knew who was gonna you knew who was gonna win. But it was a fun time. At the end it felt
This
like
was
Luchasaurus
this
was
was
gonna
Grand
kill.
Slam Rampage, so it was a 2-hour episode. So
Whew.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it was a good way to kick it off. I thought Grand
Mm-hmm.
Slam overall for that week was good. I thought Dynamite was really strong. I thought the Rampage was good. And Collision was good. So then we had Chris Statlander, Orange Cassidy, and Hook defeating Anna Jay in 2.0. It's one of those fun matches, I guess. I'm not the biggest Statlander and Cassidy fan, so I'm not necessarily overexcited to see Hook kind of in that stuck with them. I kind of want to see him do something different, but at least he's on TV and getting airtime. I mean, if he hitches his wagon to Orange Cassidy, he'll get TV time. So I'm not opposed to that. So that I'm happy about that. I thought the triple suplex spot was kind of fun. I thought the ending where um, whatchamacallit Hook was choking out Matt Menard, and then everyone essentially got some sort of finisher or pin on the other one, and so it was like a triple win, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, what do you think? Anything you
No,
want to say?
I've been saying it for a minute. 2.0 deserve TV time, a great spot in the tag team division. So I am all for that. Like you said, another fun match. I love OC and Statlander, but I am a little perplexed about this pairing with Hook. It's like, okay. Don't know who this is really going to service, but I guess until you figure out what you want to do with both of them, sure. So that's my
Yeah,
thoughts on them. Yeah.
yeah. Um, there was a QTV segment, but I'm gonna just say there was a QTV segment. I don't think it was really worth talking about. So,
Well,
but
yeah.
then we got, unless you wanted to say something about it.
Well, like nothing really. Like I love Johnny wrestling. This is a better fit for him, but the way they kicked off QTV hasn't, I'm not sure they can get it back. So
Yeah, and I'm not a huge fan of the whole QTV thing. Anyhow, it feels like a cheap take on BTE, and like they're forcing it kind of down our throats, and that I'm not interested in. And so I just You know, BTE's on YouTube. You know about it or you don't. You come to it probably because through word of mouth or by looking around naturally. It's kind of its own organic thing. It doesn't feel forced on you because it's not necessarily like. I mean, it is an AEW product, but it's not. At least it doesn't
yeah,
feel like that to a certain extent. I think it would feel different if BTE was a segment on Rampage or a segment on Dynamite. I think it would feel a lot different. So, and that's what QTV feels like. It feels like it's trying to kind of be like BTE, but because it's on the actual shows as segments, it just doesn't have the same feel. I don't know. And I like QT Marshall, but I don't know if this is where I like him the most. I don't know. It's
it got off on the wrong foot when they tried to pair this with Hobbs. So like
yeah,
it was already off on the wrong foot because I don't Hobbs should have been nowhere near this, and now they're just like you said, it's just here. We don't need
yeah,
it.
yeah. Then we got what was okay, I guess. Got Don Callis and Sammy Guevara in the ring, um, talking about how much I guess they love each other and how much Chris Jericho was. bring Sammy Guevara back. Sammy's looking extra douchey. This is, I mean, I'm glad that they're no longer trying to force heel Sammy or babyface Sammy Guevara on us. Let him be a heel. That's where he's in his pocket and in his zone. That's where it feels right. I think that's why because that's his personality, unfortunately. So I feel like it's probably not a much of a stretch for him. So, I like heel Sammy. So he's back to slimy Guevara, and yeah, um, uh, you know, uh, Kenny Omega came down and helped, I guess, helped Jericho to a certain extent. I don't know. Um, and then Jericho and Kenny kind of argued backstage about how clearly they're not friends. What do you think about this whole thing with Callis, Guevara, Omega, Jericho?
So what you said, it was like it's weird when Sammy finally gets over without you pushing this down your throats. You're like, screw it. We want him to be a heel. Like, it's okay. And you come out forcing stuff down our throats, Mr. Jericho, sir. I need you to take a break because it's not meshing well. It's not meshing well. Adding Osprey and Kenny Omega to this. The two does not mesh well for me. If you're trying to create something out of thin air and it's not here, it's not. It's not.
Yeah, I agree. And even though I like heel Osprey, I don't really think he's. I mean, I don't have a problem necessarily with Don Callis or the Callis family, but I'm not sure that's where I like him most. Um, and again, I like Omega as a heel generally more than a face. But he's good at both, and it is what it is. I mean, I I like all these guys, so to a certain extent, I'm kind of here for it. But we'll have to see how it plays out. I
Yeah.
am here for the Callis family. I'm enjoying it so far and what they've done so far. Between Takeshita and Guevara, he's got, some good guys there, and he'll probably get a couple more. So, I mean, it'll probably
Like,
end up leading to some sort of anarchy in the arena slash stadium stampede slash war games where it's the Callis family versus whoever else on the other side, I'm sure. But we'll see.
like you said, it feels like Osprey doesn't need this. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
let him do something better. Like you said, I
I
love
agree.
Don Callis. I actually do love Sammy with Don, but Osprey does not seem like he should be fitting into the story.
Yeah. No, I agree with that for sure. Then I think we got, if I'm looking, I'm checking my order here, make sure I got things in the right order. Uh, we got next, we had the Righteous versus Best Friends and the Hardys. The Righteous got the win here to be number one contenders for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. And we'll talk about that more because there was some interesting developments last night on Dynamite
Yeah.
leading into WrestleDream. So, oh, why is this still? Oh, I see what's going on here. I've got two of them up apparently. That's why they're fighting with each other. Uh, oh, and that one's on the ticker. That's why, because there's too much information. Um, so, anything you want to say about this match between or the Righteous getting the number one contendership over the Best Friends, the Hardys, or the Kingdom
It really is like, what are we waiting for?
with
It's
the
like
Kingdom?
why are we waiting for the Kingdom versus MJ? Like with this before Adam hurt his foot, but
Right.
what are we? Why are we extending this? And like now Adam hurt his foot, so we have to prolong. So it's like this is why I get long term story booking, but it has to be a reason. There was no reason. This should have happened at Grand Slam. This already should have been done. Like, what are we waiting for? But
Yeah.
the Righteous do look good. I
I I do like the Righteous. I, I Best Friends so the Hardys are what they are, right? They're kind of just I don't know what they're doing at the moment. They feel directionless, even though they're involved, I guess, in this Ring of Honor World Tag Team title picture. They feel
Yeah.
directionless, and they feel like if you're gonna be the Hardys and you're gonna wrestle, they need to be on the main shows because of the Hardys. At the same time, I know they're also not the Hardys from 20 years ago, so I don't know that you can put them on the main show. Um, but it feels weird that the Righteous comes out of these four. I feel like the Kingdom is the team that should have probably won here, just because I feel like that's the team that they've been building up as like,
And,
even though they're not the champions, as like the face of the Ring of Honor tag team division. So like, um, it seems weird they didn't win here. But again, I don't mind the Righteous. I just thought it was kind of odd.
like it doesn't match the story. So it's
Yeah.
like that's the only thing. Like, okay, if you're gonna make us wait, but now we have to wait way longer. Boo.
Right. So let's see.
There you go.
Then we had the trios championship match. Acclaimed and Billy Gunn defeating the Dark Order. Um, you know, I love the Acclaimed, so I am glad that they're still the trio champions. There was a period of time like when Tony Khan first mentioned, "Oh, I'm going to do a trios division," and I sat back and I looked around and I thought, what just happened? I sat back and thought,
You're
um,
okay. You're back. Yeah.
yeah, it all went. My computer just went completely black for like a half a second. I was like,
Like you
oh,
froze for like a minute. Yeah.
and then it came back. So, where I was like, looked around and I thought, oh my God, there's all these great trios. We could have a wonderful trios division. This is going to be amazing. And we had the best of seven series with FTR and the Bucks, which was
Yeah.
really good. Um, or the Elite and FTR and what you know what I'm talking about. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that wasn't for the treat. I'm sorry. It was the Elite and I forget who it was now. But
Death Triangle. Elite was
thank you.
Death Triangle. Seven
In
out
their
of
best
yeah.
of seven, which was really good. Which was really good. But since then, I feel like it's been an underwhelming division, the trios division overall. The Acclaimed has had the belts now twice. I believe this is their second reign with the belts, and or
No.
maybe
No.
they were
No.
it was tag team titles
Yeah.
before, and now it's the trios. So, um, I was hoping that they would do a little bit more with the trios belts. We'll see. Maybe they will. Dark Order, and I like Dark Order, and I don't know. It feels like they're just like that trios division is directionless. Um,
And like they had. This is why like I love Acclaim too. But the thing I liked about House of Black having it was I think we were all excited about the whole House of Black rules, and it was
mhm.
because it was going to be something new, and it was going to be the whole third stipulation, but
Which they never
nothing
made work
nothing
and never really leaned into. I mean, they just yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah,
work
no,
if you
that
don't
was a dropped ball for sure, and the
right
House of
lean
Black
into
Rain
it.
was a dropped ball for sure. The whole situation was. I mean, the acclaimed is so over that I understand why they have the belts on them, and it doesn't bother me at all. At the same time, you got to give them. They have good enough competition. You just have to have better storylines and better leading up to the competition. You just have to book it better.
Definitely. Like
Uh,
honestly, right now, no. I was gonna say just have them versus the ROH 6-man tag team champions, but that's the humbug. So we
well,
probably
yeah, and
gotta wait for something big for that. Yeah,
I think Sammy mentioned it maybe on Tuesday at the cookout. And I think we kind of talked about it briefly about some rumor about potentially combining the AEW and Ring of Honor champions, their title belts, and that to me doesn't make any sense because Ring of Honor is its own show. I mean, what do you're not going to have any belts on Ring of Honor? That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't. So if that's true, I don't like that idea at all. You got to have Ring of Honor belts. And you got to have it
it yeah
separate from AEW belts.
it only works if they're gonna do both shows, and history has shown us that is less the case.
Agreed. All right, then we got Julia Hart beating up on Sky Blue. Julia Hart's. This is like she's been on a mission, but this is a few episodes ago. So this is Friday before. She's had a couple wins. I think she won. Well, she won last night on Dynamite as well, which we'll talk about. She might have had a match on Collision. We'll see. We'll get to it. But at minimum, she's had at least this one on Rampage from Friday and now last night on Dynamite. They're definitely pushing her. Um, she's the only one from House of Black that's getting any actual action other than Brody King being at ringside. Um, the other three of them haven't seen Malachi Black or Buddy Matthews at all. Um, so I have no idea what's going on there. Julia Hart's laying people out and beating people. I'm assuming they're pushing her towards probably a TBS. Well, yes, a TBS championship match with Chris Statlander. And we'll see what comes out of that. What do you think about this? Anything you want to say about Julia Hart?
So I do love what they're doing with Julia, right? Her own theme song, a little bit adjacent from House of Black, and she sings it goes it is a complete look. And so I just wish that it would have been done more consistently, because it's like when you were saying she's been on a hot streak, it was like, really? She has, but it's been sporadic. It's only been sprinkled in certain places. But I do love it. I do love what they're doing with her now. We will talk about stuff later. How's the Buddy Matthews and Malachi Black like having singles, and Brody King not having singles matches? It's another conversation for another day. It makes no sense.
Yeah. I agree.
People are like, well, maybe they're all hurt. Nope. All healthy.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't understand. We talk a lot on this channel about why certain people get over and certain people don't, and why certain people get airtime and others don't. And there's clearly no rhyme or reason that I can put on it for either company at this point. I mean, when I say AEW or WWE, it's a mystery to me. Clearly there's something that I, as a viewer and a wrestling fan, don't understand clearly, because it doesn't make sense to me most of the time, and I don't know. So I feel like it's got to be my fault, but maybe it's not. Maybe it doesn't make sense to everybody. Who knows?
It is not.
It is not my fault. Well, I appreciate that. Then we had Mike Santana, no longer just Santana, come out and beat up Bronson. This was a squash match, and this is more really, this is really more about the angle with Ortiz, who came down to the ring and kind of stared down with Santana as this, which is what we're ultimately leading to, right? Santana versus Ortiz.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be. So that's coming sometime soon, and I'm here for that. I prefer them together. I think Proud and Powerful never really got their just due in AEW as a tag team. They never really got a chance to hold the belts and have a run and that kind of stuff. So I'm disappointed in that. I know Santana got hurt, and Ortiz kind of, did whatever for a little bit, flirted around, had a couple singles matches, and I thought, really was kind of sent to catering. I don't know why, because I like Ortiz a lot. I think he's fun, and I guess Tony thinks the money is in them feuding. So I don't know if this is their idea. I don't know if this is Tony's idea. I don't know if there's actual kind of like any real heat at all. I'd have to do some research on that. But what do you think about this? What do you think about Mike Santana?
I'm not calling you Mike. That's number one. You're Santana. I don't know. It's not like it's Tommaso Ciampa. It's like, okay, both names combined, you're a star. Mike. No, you should just leave that Santana. So they've been doing these vignettes, which have been cool, trying to rehype them up, right? But in my back of my mind, I'm like, okay, what does this do about Ortiz? Because, like you said, he's great too. You don't want to leave him behind. So when I saw Ortiz out, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm glad they're doing the shine for both of them. I am very glad about that. And I think we're all hoping it's like, you know what? Fine. If you have to just go in and do a match and do one good knockout to be a team again, then then just do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm here for it. I think the two of them will have a really good feud, so I'm excited for that. So we'll have to see what ends up happening. And then we're at the main event of Rampage for Grand Slam 2-hour Rampage, which was the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team title match. The Mogul Embassy came in as the champions, but proceeded to lose to the Hung Bucks, or the Elite, I guess, whatever you want to call them. They're the Hung Bucks. And now the Hung Bucks are the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions, which, at this point, they're trying to put those Ring of Honor or the Ring of Honor titles on big name stars to bring eyes to Ring of Honor, much like WWE seems to be trying to do with NXT. It seems to be kind of a recurring theme with both of those situations at the moment. I'm here for it. I think it does elevate both. I think it elevates Ring of Honor by having those titles on those guys, but those titles also need to be defended on Ring of Honor TV, not just on AEW television as well, because they are Ring of Honor belts. So for those of us that actually do watch Ring of Honor every week, the weekly show, it
Mm-hmm.
would be nice to see the Ring of Honor titles defended on those shows. And it's not that they're not, but just more often. And I do get concerned when they are held by, the bigger name athletes that are generally on Dynamite and Collision, that you're going to see them a lot less on the Ring of Honor show. So but I like the Hung Bucks, so it is what it is. I'm here for it. What about you?
So it was very interesting, right? Because this is basically because this is basically set up because of the feud between Swerve and Hangman. So and like, so while we're doing this, it's probably a big surprise of a match. Cause like, who should win? Cause like you said, they're not really ROH people, but they are the Young Bucks and Hangman. So when they won, it was like
Yeah,
interesting. I do
yeah,
believe like it's Young Bucks and Hangman, right? So I do believe they will make appearances on ROH, unlike MJF and Adam Cole. I do believe they will make appearances. So it is definitely a wait and see. And like I said, it did its job of making us more interested in Hangman versus Swerve. I would say
yes,
that as well. Yeah.
that did. All right, so that was the end of Grand Slam Rampage. That was Friday the 22nd. Then Saturday the 23rd, we had Grand Slam Collision, which started off with a triple threat match of Christian Cage, really a handicap match for all intents and purposes, of Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Darby Allin, in which Christian Cage got the win after Luchasaurus put in the work. Christian Cage picked up the pin like he should, as the heel that he should, and now he is officially the uh, TNT title. When Tony Schiavone said, "How does it feel to officially be?" Or whoever it was that asked him, he said, "What are you talking about? I've always been the TNT title holder." So, right, dude, he's hysterical. The best thing about that whole match and Christian in general is the sleeveless turtleneck that he wrestles in. It's
Yeah.
amazing, dude. But yeah, I mean, this is what I expected to have happen here. Um, this is really kind of what I thought was going to happen. Christian would get the win and actually be the title holder. It makes things a little less muddy between him and Luchasaurus. At the same time, it also does muddy it because he pinned Luchasaurus to get the win, right? So like,
Right.
we'll see if the dinosaur actually has feelings at some point. I mean, at least he used to seem to when he was in Jurassic Express and they were faces. He seemed to have kind of have some emotions or whatever. And now he's very stoic and doesn't really show anything, like he's kind of a robot. So I assume at some point it seems natural to me because now I don't even know what happened, but I guess CM Punk told Jack Perry they got into this issue about the glass spot. CM Punk got fired and Jack Perry didn't, but now we haven't seen Jack Perry at all either. Like where he hasn't been on my TV since that whole thing happened too. So I'm wondering if they're gonna try to do something different with him. I almost think they should he should come back and try to convince Luchasaurus that Christian is wrong for him. Try to get Luchasaurus back on his side. That's what I think should be the storyline. But I don't know.
I
What do you
am not
think?
opposed to that. I'm not opposed to that. Even though he did nothing wrong, you gotta suspend him, blah 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 blah. So you know what? Let me go on this suspension hashtag vacation. Uh,
How long is the suspension? I guess I didn't even realize he had been formally suspended as well. I thought that he didn't actually get any punishment. But
definitely suspended. I'm not sure
okay,
what time reasoning,
okay,
but it's like definitely not fired. Like people were talking about he should be fired. Out of the question. How I'm
yeah,
gonna get
yeah,
fired when I got clearance for everything I was supposed to do?
for sure.
Right.
So then we had, which
Oh
I
wait,
thought was, oh, go ahead.
because this match, okay, it
Yeah,
was kind of heartbreaking because you're like, Luchasaurus has been the stoic character. But when he first held the belt, I love the crowd. He's like, "That's your belt. That's your belt." It's like,
Yeah, he
yes,
held
let
it and
him
looked at it,
go.
and he was like,
This is the first time he actually held
"I
it.
almost like this. Like this feels right." Like,
Right. And then
you know.
he had to it was so heartbreaking. So I am halfway on the board for yeah. Let Jungle Boy come back and yeah. Continue.
Yeah, and I think you saw for the first time Luchasaurus when he was holding the belt. It's like, oh yeah, he you can relate. Like, oh, maybe Christian is his days are numbered because now he's Luchasaurus has held the belt. This is kind of cool for a minute, and now Christian's gonna take it back from him. Like, I don't know. Maybe the dinosaur wants it back permanently at some point. So,
But it's like
uh,
you are the champion. Don't know what Christian was telling you, but
right?
yes, you are the champion.
Yeah. So then we had um, Rob Van Dam and Hook in a tag team versus 2.0, which was, okay. Um,
Right.
I prefer Hook here as opposed to um,
Yeah.
with Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander. At the same time, I'm what is the story? I mean, I don't. Why is RVD here, and why is Hook with them, and why are they facing? There's no like real. For me, it doesn't feel like there's any story here. I don't totally understand what RVD is doing here. I don't mind it. I like RVD. I'm happy to see him. I just
Right.
don't understand why he's here in AEW. If he's just here, that's great. That's fine. If he's here because and if he's in this thing with Hook because he's old friends with Taz from ECW days, whatever the case may be, I don't know if that's the connection, but it seems weird. I don't totally understand what's going on. It feels like a lot of directionless guys just stuck together in a match.
Now, this one is not so more directionless. It's that it wasn't really, not even saying thought out. So when Jack Perry got the WFT title from Hook, right, and he
Right.
was
Yeah.
like he was bad mouthing ECW. Definitely, RVD
Rob
came
Van
out.
Dam.
He tried to
Right.
get it
Sure.
back. We all found out that he has the fountain of youth. He can still go. And so the the story I believe was going to happen was all of the art at Wembley, all of the ECW people were going to help Hook get the title back. Now, not exactly sure why that didn't happen because that would have been, if nothing, have Sandman come out and do his whole entrance. He didn't have to wrestle, but just come out with a kendo stick, hit Jack Perry one good time. That would have been a moment. But I'm not sure why that didn't happen fully. But so that's the connection, like
Right. Right.
that story connection, right? And like this is more so, oh wow, like I said, when it was RVD versus Jack Perry, it was like
That made sense.
I'm mad. I'm like, you telling me you wrestle all this time, you still good, and I got freaking Bully Ray on my television to give me crap freaking wrestling matches, and you could have been on my team, man. And so like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It was
I go ahead.
no. I was saying like, so like I said, not so much of a story now, more so of a connection. It was in his home state, so it's like let's dip our toe in the water to see how much we can use RVD.
Right. Yeah. I guess the question becomes: does RVD hang out for Jack Perry to come back so that they can get to that storyline, or is he gonna go away again? Is he here for good for a while? I have no idea what his contractual status is or any of that stuff, so I don't know what the future's like. I mean, I hope he stays for a minute, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out.
Yeah, like I don't think TK knew how good RVD was. So like right now, I'm just saying they're tipping their toe in the water to see how good he still is, and if we can, in which way we can use him properly in the
Yeah.
company.
Yeah, makes sense. Then backstage we had Christian after the post match talking with Tony and the hilarious, promo, and it ultimately ended up in Darby Allin versus Christian Cage at WrestleDream, 2 out of 3 falls match. Um, I'm here for that. We'll talk about that when we preview WrestleDream in a minute here.
Yeah.
Uh, then we had, and I thought so, Julia Hart got another win here against Kiera Hogan. So she really got a win at Grand Slam Rampage, Grand Slam Collision, and then last night at Dynamite again. So as
Yeah.
of after last night, it was three in a row. So, like I said, it feels like they're really pushing her. And again, she's out here with Brody, the only members of the House of Black, but still clearly perpetuating the
Yeah.
House of Black trio. I mean, it's not like they're not switching up. They're still the House of Black. It's just there's only
Yeah.
two of them now for whatever reason. So we already talked about that. Anything about this match?
Um. So basically, proof that wins and losses do matter. If you're gonna hype someone up for a title match, just let them beat people. Very good example.
Yeah, no doubt. Then we had Eddie Kingston announcing that he was going to defend his Ring of Honor World Title and his Openweight title against Shibata at WrestleDream. For Shibata's also putting up the Pure title, I believe. Um, I think. Um,
Okay.
let me hold on. Let me see if I can confirm that real quick. Hold on for just one sec.
Cause
Uh,
it was a lot of belts without him putting up the pure championship, right? So it's like
yeah,
this 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 didn't need to be a championship match. This could have been an exhibition match. It's called Wrestle Dream. These are just dream matches in our heads on paper, right? So it didn't have to
yeah,
be yeah, like I said, none of these belts had to be put up. If you wanted it to be for the ROH champ. Now, yeah, but it's like I don't think because Eddie shouldn't lose, right? Eddie should definitely
no,
not lose, but I don't think Eddie wants three belts as well. Like when he won the ROH championship, he was like, "I have
two
it's,
belts. I got to take a break.
it's like
Yeah,
I'm tired, but I will defend them." It's
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, I can't imagine that. First of all, I'm not even totally sure that the pure title's on the line. I'll try to figure that out. But if it
yeah,
is, I can't imagine that he's winning a third belt. And he just won that. He just beat Claudio. He's
right,
not going to lose to Shibata here for that title already. If it was maybe just the New Japan belt, maybe I could see that. Maybe if it was just the Ring of Honor belt, I could potentially maybe see that. But he's not losing both belts now. He's extremely over at the moment. And this is the most this is the peak of his career for him at the moment. I mean, two belts, two decent titles. So I don't think he's losing here. I could see this match being a draw, so nobody loses, just to make both guys look good. But we'll see what ends up happening.
yeah. It's definitely gonna be a good match, but yeah,
It will be
he
a good
shouldn't lose.
match. Then we had Jay White defeat Andrade. Um, you know, I like Jay White. I like Andrade. I like both these guys. I'm happy to see Andrade on TV. Um, he wanted to get his hands on Jay White. He got his hands on Jay White and he lost. I guess, don't get me wrong, he had help from the Bullet Club. Um, I guess what I don't really understand is why Andrade's alone. Like he's had people in the past in his side. He's got. I know there's no, Andrade family office anymore because that's split up with Matt Hardy. But he also had some people after that, and I don't know. It seems weird he was alone here, and as a result, they took advantage of him. The Bullet Club
So
took advantage of him.
talking about dropped storylines opportunities, well, when collisions first started, it felt like it was Andrade versus House Black, and we were just
Hmm.
waiting for Roosh to come and help him, and we'll
Right.
have the trios, right?
Yeah.
And Roosh got signed, yay, yay, yay. But I'm not sure it was something wrong with his visa. Hopefully not. And it was like, hey, and then you had House of Black drop the belt to Acclaim. So it really was like, does the right hand know the left hand was doing? Because I was very interested in the Andrade beating Buddy, beating. It was a great time, and I was looking forward to that being the end of it. So I felt like it just dropped that storyline. They're like, well, we got to do something. And I feel like Jay White just put his hands up. Hey, I'll take it. And because
Yeah.
I've seen how good he is, so we'll have a great match. And it was a great match. I don't think any person's stock fell short. But it is like, what are we doing with Andrade? I felt we knew where we were going, but now we don't, which sucks.
Yeah. And I mean, even though I kind of see like I guess I kind of get Bullet Club Gold. I mean, I love the faction. I'm not really sure what
Ooh.
direction what they're doing. I mean, I don't know why Jay White's necessarily wrestling Andrade. I mean, I don't know what that does for Jay White or Bullet Club in general. Um, as a faction, the goal is obviously as well as an individual, it's to hold individual gold. And as a faction, it's for your faction to hold all the gold. So I mean, you would think that the goal would be to go after titles. At the same time, that doesn't really seem to be what Bullet Club Gold is into at the moment. So I don't totally know. It feels like Tony Khan has a toy that he's not totally sure how to play with.
Mm.
But
So, like, Collision was that show that built up people that need to be built up. So, in a vacuum, this was just the two top Collision guys going at each other, and we'll see later on. We're talking about Dynamite getting Jay White to that peak of everyone knows how good he is. So the next program, it won't be any questions of why.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, this is what you always talk about how, yeah, I understand that we're supposed to know, but we don't know, and so you have to tell us and show us. Like, yeah, I understand that maybe we should know who Jay White is, but a lot of us don't, other than knowing the name, and you got to give us some sort of meat on the bone to make us interested. So,
Yes,
you can't just say, "Here's this guy that everyone knows is great." Well, that doesn't do anything for me. I mean, I got to know why is he great. You know what I mean? I don't
right.
necessarily know him, so not every wrestling fan watches, New Japan and everything under the sun. So,
For the people who
um,
doesn't stay up at 3 o'clock to watch New Japan, just give
yeah,
them a video
or
package.
doesn't, maybe even then, maybe you don't read the dirt sheets, maybe you don't do the behind the scenes stuff or read the articles. I mean, if you don't do that stuff, you wouldn't know. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you to be a real informed wrestling fan, you got to watch the shows pretty intently, pay attention, and you got to read the other stuff that kind of goes on because there's a lot of stuff that takes place off air. I
It's
mean,
so
yeah,
it's so much.
yeah. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then we had the tag team title match. FTR defeated the Workhorsemen, as we assumed they probably would. I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad the Workhorsemen get the match. It
Yeah.
feels kind of like you know, a a a pity try. They're not going to win, but I guess we'll give them a shot. We need someone to
Open
lose to.
challenge. Yeah.
We need someone to lose to look decent. And I guess no one looks bad a lot of time. No one looks bad against FTR because they don't really have bad matches. So
Right.
it does elevate the workhorsemen just to be in the ring with them, but they do take an L. And yeah, I mean, FTR wins and defends or retains their titles as I assume they would.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love the Workhorsemen. I loved them in the GCW pay per view I watched a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Like you said, hopefully this shine will lead to more things. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're one of those teams that's a victim of having just too many guys and just not enough airtime. I don't.
Which
So
shouldn't be the case because the tag team division needs more bodies. We
yeah,
definitely need more bodies.
100%. Or give them a third guy and make them a trio and beef up that trios division a little. I mean, I don't know who it would be,
Right.
but give them somebody. All right. So then we had the main event of that Grand Slam collision, which was the Texas Death Match, in which Danielson defeated Ricky Starks a second time. So
You
he beat him at Dynamite
your
in a strap
voice.
match, and then he beat him again
The sarcasm,
at
sir.
Collision. Here's the thing, and I said it before. I said it when he lost the strap match. There is no shame ever losing to perhaps the greatest professional wrestler of all time. It does nothing but make Ricky look good to be even in those two matches. The reality is that Daniel Bryan doesn't need the wins at this point in his career, and Ricky Starks does. It's just that simple. And he needs those wins over someone like a Bryan Danielson. So, if here's my thing, right? If you're on the last stages of your career, you're leaving in a year or two, your goal is to leave wrestling in a better place than it was when you were there, help other guys try to get over. That's what you should be trying to do is help other guys get over and
Yeah.
increase their spot. So, and again, Starks doesn't look any worse for losing. In fact, he looks really good in defeat. He would just look that much better in victory. If you want to lose, if you want him to lose, have him lose one, have him split the two. But to lose both, that's tough. Like, even though he looked really good in both. And it's not, again, it's no knock to lose both times to Danielson, but he's lost twice now. It's like, that's two in a row.
I I will say this: it might be a victim of a surprise storyline, right? The storyline was not supposed to be him and Danielson; it was supposed to be him
Sure.
and Punk.
Right.
So, what's his name? All Out, definitely okay. He definitely shouldn't have went there. It's a matter of
You
okay,
can see
do
you.
you have another match? I think the question was, do we want this to be a 2 out of 3? Because if this was going to 2 out of 3, yes, let him definitely win one and then do the tiebreaker. But I don't think they were like, Danielson, we only have a year. They could have done the third match. They're like, you know what? We'll just do 2. And no offense, but yeah, if we're only doing 2, let him win 2. But he won't tap. He'll just pass out.
Yeah. I mean, Ricky still looks really good, and it is what it is. I think he's definitely it's helped elevate him, and I think he's over more because of those matches, those two matches, even though they're losses. He, both times he never tapped out, he never quit, he never in either match, so that does look good. And like I said, you lost to the greatest of all time, so there's nothing wrong with that. So
But the follow up is important though. The follow up
the
is
follow up is
important.
very important.
Please do not drop the ball on the
Yeah, we'll
follow
have
up.
to see where this goes. So that was the main event of Collision, and that brings us to last night's Dynamite, which kicked off with Ray Phoenix defending his AEW International Championship
Nero,
against
Nero.
Jeff Jarrett, who I'm always irritated when he's on my screen. So, needless to say, I was extremely happy to see Ray Phoenix get the win here. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, they tried to do everything that they could to take the belt from Phoenix. Satnam Singh got involved, Sanjay Dutt got involved, but Phoenix ended up with the win in the end.
As always. Like, so we were all questioning because this was an unexpected win for Phoenix, right?
Hmm.
How good would Tyler Ring be? His first opponent could have been worse. It could have been worse.
Yeah,
So to say it could have
yeah.
been
I mean,
better, semantics,
I don't like Jeff Jarrett, but I mean, I don't like him, but you can't deny that he's a good worker in the ring. Um, I mean,
you're
he
gonna
can
be
still
entertained.
he still can go for an older guy. I mean, yeah, I mean, so you know, he doesn't have great matches, but he has decent matches, and Ray Phoenix has really good matches. So like you said, it could have been a worse first match, I
Yeah,
suppose.
yeah.
It could have been
The
against Satnam Singh as opposed to just him getting involved, right? So I mean, at least we
yeah,
didn't get that or something. So
yeah.
um, then we got Don Callis and Takeshita. They are in Tokyo looking for Omega's secret something, which we'll come to find out is Kota Ibushi, right? That's what they're looking for, I
In the
believe. Is that
dojo, in his dojo.
in his dojo? What'd you think of this? Anything you want to say about this?
So, like I said, right? So this feels more cohesive without Jericho. This
Hmm.
feels like because this really is Don versus Kenny, and
Yes.
so this feels more cohesive to that story. People are comparing it to Swerve when him and AR Fox beat up Nick Wayne. I'm like, this is
Uh-huh.
the Disney this is the Disney version of that.
This is a
This was like
Disney version of that.
they just choked him out. There was no blood. They did not wreck his plays. He probably woke back up in 5 minutes. He was perfectly fine.
He
You
is
know,
perfectly fine.
this was a Disney level version. But again, not opposed to it. It did what it needed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh I think I might have missed this segment, honestly. There was a video of MJF trying to cheer up Adam Cole.
I
Um
think that was next though. Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So um and what do I hold on here? I'm trying to see. Oh, okay, we already did that. That's Well, okay. That was odd. So after that, after that we got the video package of MJF trying to cheer up Adam Cole, hanging out together on his dad's boat, apparently off Long Island.
Yes.
Uh,
Nice touch.
uh, Max is disappointed. Adam's on the phone with Roderick Strong for a long time. Uh, as MJF pretends like he might hit him with the diamond ring as Adam's got his back turned to him and tossed him overboard. Cole sees that coming, and MJF kind of denies it. And he explains it's okay to have more than one friend. They end up drinking beers with Paul White, who they find in the ocean and throw him a
Captain
safety. Captain
Insano.
Insano! And they catch him with the fishing pole. This was, this is fun comedy. This furthers that whole Adam Cole MJF, comedy buddy thing that we've got going on. So I'm here for it. I don't know that this was my favorite one. Um, I did kind of pop when I saw Captain Insano. Um, Big Show's great in general.
Yes.
Um, so, but I enjoyed it for what it was.
It was
Um,
a very nice segment. I was a little confused because I'm like, is he really about to D'Angelo him because he has more than one friend? I don't understand. It wasn't like he didn't come out after during your match and help you.
yeah,
Almost simping. If I can't
right?
have you, no one can. Like, sorry, I didn't mean it.
uh, then we had Ricky Starks backstage talking about how he had survived. Wheeler Yuta comes by, talks some shit. It ultimately ends up in Wheeler Yuta and Ricky Starks announcing that they're going to have a match at WrestleDream. So I'm here for that. That should be fun. Um, my guess is Ricky gets the win here. I don't know how you can go the distance with Danielson twice and then lose to Wheeler Yuta. If he loses to Wheeler Yuta, I think it really sets him back. He's got to beat Wheeler Yuta here, and he's got to beat him fairly decisively, not a squash, but just fairly decisively, where it's a clean win. Ricky is clearly here and Wheeler's here, like that kind of
Yeah.
situation. So, um, yeah,
To- totally agree. I do love that Yuta was like, okay, let's call a fact a fact. No, you didn't tap out, but just still lost. Okay, so
yeah,
and so it's like, yes, that is a good point, but at some point in time, he just had to win a match. It should be this one, and it should be good.
yeah. Um, then we had who we at Workhorse Wrestling Network have named the most punchable face in wrestling. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's his brother. The
his
brother
brother,
of the man we named
his
the most punchable
brother.
face in wrestling. I'm sorry, that's not correct. It is Nick Jackson, not Matt Jackson.
We
Uh,
love Nick. We love
we
both, but Nick
we
does
love
have a
both.
punchable
We
face.
love both. Matt just has a very punchable face. It's
Yes.
not a bad thing. It just is what it is. I guess it's weird to say that's not a bad thing, but either way, Nick Jackson, basically kind of outfoxed Brian Cage and Claudio to get the win, and it gives him a title shot at the AEW International Championship against Ray Phoenix. Um, it's Brian Cage and Claudio are, what they are. They're big tough guys, and Nick Jackson is not. He's more of a kind of a high flyer type dude. So the mixture of styles was fun. I enjoyed this match. I honestly was really surprised that Nick Jackson got the win, mostly just
Mm,
because he doesn't really do a whole lot of single stuff. So
yeah.
I assumed Claudio was probably going to get the win because it felt natural to me that Ring of Honor champion step up to the international championship on the main roster, right? So
Right.
not that he would necessarily beat Phoenix yet, but that was kind of maybe where it was going, or that at least he's in that title picture. Um, so I was interested. I thought it was interesting to see that Nick got the win here. I guess we'll see what they end up doing with it. But yeah,
Yeah.
um,
So I didn't know this was like, so they're doing the match next week and it's their anniversary. And so a couple of either 1 or 2 years ago, we did have Nick versus Ray Phoenix, which was a banger of a match. So it's like, okay, we'll do that for the anniversary match. The anniversary show. Like, okay, so that part it makes sense. Uh I call this match the meat special with a side with not even a side salad, a macaroni and cheese salad. It was a good side. It was two big men slapping meat with a nice little side of macaroni. It was a great combination of food.
Yeah.
It was very enjoyable.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Then we had more MJF and Adam Cole. Adam Cole has bad news. His ankle is broken, and he
Break
needs
your ankle
surgery.
running.
Yeah, he needs surgery. He says we should relinquish the titles, and MJF says no. Uh, I'm not going to do that. I will defend the titles against the righteous at WrestleDream by myself.
I'm
And the
doing it
crowd
for you, Adam.
obviously loves
Doing it for
that.
you.
Um, and then comes the best part of this whole story, which is saying a lot because MJF and Cole are great, but Roderick Strong
Ah,
comes out, Adam, saying it's an emergency.
ah.
Max, whatever, wants, says that he respects that Roddy's his boy, so he'll be waiting for Cole to return, blah, 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 blah. Cole, Cole basically leaves Roddy behind,
Like,
Roddy in the
side note,
kingdom.
you gonna make the dude who needs surgery gonna walk fast up the ramp in crutches, and you're behind in a wheelchair. Like, it's so stupid.
Right? Uh, let's see. Then they're interrupted by the arrival of the Bullet Club Gold. Um, Jay White sends everybody in the back and gets in the ring with the champ. And we get MJF and Jay White have a face off. I thought it was a good face off for the most
Mhm,
part. I didn't have, I don't have any complaints about it. I thought that MJF, as usual, probably came out ahead, but MJF also looked like Jay White got more under his skin than MJF got under Jay White's skin. At least it appeared that way. Um,
mhm,
and maybe that's exactly the story that they want to tell. Um, but yeah, Jay White seemed a little more calm and composed by the end of it, a little less
mhm,
rattled.
mhm.
I've seen MJF have better promo battles with other people. Jay White is a really good, solid talker. I don't know. He's not a Rock. He's not a Ricky Starks. He's not one of these guys he's not even an MJF when MJF is really in the zone, like where he doesn't strike me as being one of these guys that has like a super quick wit or like a fast punchline back for everything. He's more just a real solid promo. So in this situation, like I'm not sure that this is where he thrives, but I thought it was okay.
No, so I loved it. So two things. I don't think they should have done the segments back to back. I think it was too much. It was like to do the Adam Cole announcement and then go into this. It was too long of a segment, which probably hurt the the promo exchange between White and MJF, in my opinion. If you would just like, I think people should just watch that segment by itself. It might have gone off a little bit way better because it's not ran into. 'Cause I think more people was like it's too long of a segment because they're putting both together. So I'm thinking like
Yeah.
just have that by itself. It would have been took it up a little bit up a notch. Um, for me, MJF is just and I get you need the whole, as Jay White says, the full experience of this very wordy promo. It's like, sir,
Yeah.
English had to be your favorite subject because it was a full-on paragraph of explaining why you're better than Jay White, and you
Yep.
gotta respect Jay White for like, are you done? Are
I
you done? I thoroughly enjoyed it. My own MJF experience. But are you done? Can I go? Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much.
right.
But no, I do love Jay's comeback. I love that he was cool because with MJF, the whole thing is he's gonna charge you with stuff. If you're not cool under pressure, then he wins. So because Jay was cool under pressure, it's a not gonna say he won, but it's a stalemate, right? And I love the end. where he was like, just in case, because MJF was like, I don't see why people think you're better than me or we're equals because I'm filet mignon, you're tofu. And then Jay
Yeah.
was like, let the record show, because the first month of AEW does not really resemble what I did. He was like, like before I came to this company, I made eventual Wrestle Kingdom in New Japan. I sold out Madison Square Garden. I was in charge of Bullet Club Gold when it was on and popping. So
Yeah.
just in case
Just in
you
case
have
you
any
didn't know
questions
who I was, right? Yeah.
of who I am, here's the resume.
Hey,
Hey
Dolores.
D.
How you doing? Hope you're doing
So
all
it's
right.
like I said, for people who have a question of why, here is why. Enjoy.
Here is why. Enjoy. All right. So then we had Orange Cassidy defeat Penta, Matt Jackson, the one with the punchable face, and Austin Gunn in a four-way match.
Side note,
That
they're like, why you do this to Matt? Why you gonna have Nick do a great 3-star match with Cage and
right?
Claudio, and you gonna have Matt in this? They're like, that ain't right. That
It ain't
ain't
right, right?
this is a
Ultimately,
rampage.
Orange Cassidy won with the Orange Punch on Matt Jackson. Um, yeah, I mean, this it was what it was. I mean,
Right.
I'm not. I would say that Penta, and as far as the four men in this match, is really the only one that I really, care a lot about. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't. It doesn't really move the needle that much for me. I thought it was okay. I mean, I thought the match was
Yeah.
good, but I just
Oh, so for me, uh, this is probably the first time Austin Gunn has had a match in Bullet Club Gold. So I think this was his time to not shine, but prove that he has leveled up from the last time you saw them when it was just the Guns. So that was okay.
Mhm.
This match. They're doing a fatal 4-way tag team match at WrestleDream. So
Mhm.
this is basically for that. And it's
Right.
gonna, like you said, it's gonna be fun. This match was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it gives best friends or Orange Cassidy's team, I guess, a slight
Yeah.
momentum advantage heading into WrestleDream. That's what he
Yeah.
got the win here, so whatever. But yeah, these are all one half of the tag teams that are meeting in the Fatal Four Way for the champion or for the at WrestleDream. So, and we'll talk about that as we preview WrestleDream more
Right.
or after this Dynamite. Uh,
Yes.
then we got Julia Hart getting a win that really bothered me uh, against our girl Willow Nightingale.
Yes.
I, man, like
Yay and nay.
I really would prefer Willow was in this spot where she was getting the push that Julia's getting and
Mm,
getting the match against Chris Statlander that Julia's
yeah.
getting. But it is what it is. I wish she wasn't beating Willow I wish Julia wasn't beating Willow in her move up the ladder to get this
Hmm.
match with Chris Statlander. I was okay with her beating Sky Blue. I was kind of okay with her beating Kiera Hogan. I'm not okay with her beating Willow. Um, for me, that just doesn't really seem plausible and likely. Like, when I look at the two of them, I think size wise, power wise, there's not really a matchup here. Willow's definitely got more personality. She's more over. She's the bigger star with the more it power, in my opinion. She's more unique. She's got more of that, more charisma than Julia Hart does. Uh, Julia Hart is kind of your cookie cutter female woman's wrestler. You know what I mean? She's kind of small and blonde and looks like all those regular kind of. I know they prefer them tall, but um, you know, and so I don't know. I was disappointed with this.
Sorry. No. Okay. No. So if you don't know, it's gonna be, well, not you, people at home. It's gonna be
Right.
Statlander versus Julia at WrestleDream, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So we can't have Julia lose.
Right.
I am not 100% mad at it because um they sprayed, this I'm not sure when they did it, but Willow got sprayed with the mist by Julia. So she was not at 100%. Her eye was fractured. So I'm gonna I'm gonna let them off the hook with that one, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But I love this match. It's been a minute since I've been this into a women's match where I'm like emotionally invested. I love when Willow was doing the who. I'm like, bro, to Brody King. I'm like, yes, girl, get it.
yeah.
I don't know what we have to do for a mixed match challenge because I'm like that. Julia was cool in this match too, but my eyes were on Willow and Brody King. I'm like, can we do something where they get into the ring one good time? Like how like, again, her and Keith Lee versus Julia and Brody King, and then they do a pounce, and she gets the pounce Brody King. I'm like, yeah, give people what they want, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
I mean, yeah,
understand.
you're right. I mean, she can't lose here because she's wrestling Statlander at WrestleDream. I get that. I just wish they had found somebody besides Willow to
Right,
take this loss here.
you don't have to
Dolores
book the
says,
match.
"Go, Julia." Willow had a jock strap on her head. Come on now, that's wrong. Don't do
Not a
that.
jock strap, but it looked like she got taped up in the same hospital Roddy been in for the past 2 weeks. That it did what it looked. I'm like, it was a very botched up tape eye job, whatever you
Looking
want to
like
call
she
it,
saw
tape
the
up
doctor
job.
from The Simpsons.
Like y'all could
Crazy doctor from The Simpsons. I forget what his name is, but
like
yeah.
ask Malachi Black to wrap her eye up. I was like, he would have done a better job, bro.
Uh, all right. Then we had what was essentially the main event of the show. I fucking hate these. I had to deal with two of these this week. They fucking did it on NXT. Finished the show with a goddamn contract signing. So here we go again. Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page sitting at the table in the fucking ring on opposite sides of each other, talking shit to each other about to sign this contract. Like anybody in the whole world watching this doesn't thinks that neither of them is not going to sign this contract. Like, they're obviously you're both going to sign it. What are we doing? Why is this the main event? If you want to put this in the middle of the show when you need some sort of filler, like that's fine. But it's the main event. Like, oh my god. WWE's been doing this for years, and now apparently Tony Khan thinks it's fun too. Like, ugh. It's bad TV in my opinion. I mean, these two are okay. Hangman Page and Swerve are both good talkers. I didn't think this was necessarily the best promo battle. Um, I thought Swerve sounded a little clunky a couple of times, but for the most part, I thought Swerve came off better than Hangman Page. But I don't know. I thought it is what it is. Fuck, I don't know. I'm here for the match. We'll talk about that when we talk about WrestleDream in a minute. I'm here for the match. So
Okay. So I was fine with this. More fine than ALW. I will agree. This was I want to know what's it gonna do with Collision, because I believe one of these segments, one of these talking segments, could have been on Collision. It was, yeah, it
we're all
was
gonna
a
lose our
lot of
shit.
talking. Yeah, it was a lot of talking for this show and Dynamite,
Yeah,
right? But
yeah.
I did like the exchange. He was like, "What's a buckshot to a kill shot?" I love that. That was a great line.
I
Oh my god, contract signings have to happen, sir. And, like again, I do agree with you. Too much talking, but this segment in the vacuum, with besides all was great, right? And so it ended with for this feud, my mind went somewhere different, right? The first time Swerve came out to Hangman, he was like, "Look at you, you have zero motivation, right?" So
right.
in my mind, I'm like, okay, so the next couple of matches Hangman has, he's gonna lose, right? But he's been winning. They actually did the opposite of what I was thinking. Instead of a downward spiral, they had Heyman actually live up to his position, right? I'm like, that's not a bad part. Mine wasn't going there, right? And
Yeah.
so that kind of rattled Swerve. I love that in the promo exchange. So Swerve slaps him, and then hey man, like when we start stabbing people with pins, when we start doing this, I'm like
Right.
that was really extreme, sir. So then the whole pull part, like again, I agree with you. Too much talking for this show, but in a vacuum by itself, the segment was good. It did what it needed to do to promote WrestleDream.
Yeah. It promoted WrestleDream. Uh, all right. So then we had what was actually the last camera shot of the night, which was Jay White getting beat up by 4 or 5 guys in all black. When one turned, it appears to be MJF's devil mask on the dude's face. So we don't know who it was in any of those. We don't know if it was actually MJF or who it was. I guess we'll find out. You have any thoughts on what that was or what we're looking at?
Um, so I'm not sure if you heard it too, but throughout the show, it was some like audio stuff, right? I thought it was like, okay, I need to get this mic fixed because it was like during commentary,
Hmm.
it happened like 3 or 4 times where it was
Oh,
like
I totally missed that.
someone
Yeah.
talking, like they were talking like, and then it came back.
Oh,
It was real. It felt like somebody was messing with the mics, right? Or
like the
someone
SmackDown
hit
hacker.
a little bit, but more subtle, right? More
Right.
subtle. It was way more subtle to the thought of everyone's like, okay, y'all need to hit, yeah, someone needs to hit the right button. I think this is where it merges into it. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it, but I think it merges together. I'm more confused than anything. And when I say confused, I'm like, sure, I'll play along, but like I'm not hyped. It doesn't give me anything emotionally invested in anything. Um, just if
Do
it
you
leads to
think?
where I think,
Do you think one of the guys was actually MJF?
definitely not,
Okay.
definitely not. I think it could be someone that should be in a wheelchair,
Ooh,
and it leads to a bigger story. And to that,
interesting.
I'll say, sure, just don't put too much stank on the story. The story is good. You don't have to overdo it. Don't
Right.
overdo it.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was the end of Dynamite from last night. So, but before we wrap the show up, we will do a quick little preview and then we'll talk about it again. Well, you won't be here on Friday night, but on Friday Night Fights, we'll talk about it some more. But we're going to do a quick little quick fire preview of Wrestle Kingdom. Oh, Laura says it's Adam Cole in the Kingdom.
I like I said, well, not
It's
Adam
Roddy
Cole
in the
per
Kingdom.
se, but my mind was going to
Interesting.
Roddy, but Adam Cole should be in a wheelchair too. I do
So the
believe, yeah.
So you believe that it's Roddy and they're doing it in the devil mask so that people think it's MJF and turn on MJF, as opposed to it actually being MJF and people he's decided to put in devil masks.
So not the fans turning on MJF,
But
but
Adam
some
Cole turning
kind of.
on
That's
MJF.
what I'm saying. Don't do too much because my mind's already hurt. My mind already hurt trying to think this out too much. But yeah, I think it's Adam Cole, and somehow this leads to Adam Cole getting the belt off of MJF. Don't know how
Yeah,
they're gonna spin it. That's what I'm saying. Don't do too much with the story. Don't do
yeah.
too much with the story, please.
It seems weird to attack Jay White. He seems kind of like an outlier in that part of the story. Like, if
Like,
it
where
is
was Bullet
Roddy,
Club Gold?
if it's Roddy trying to beat up somebody and make people think it's MJF doing it, hence the reason for wearing the mask, and to put a wedge between Adam Cole and MJF, you would think it would be somebody more involved in the storyline, more directly. Adam Cole's, maybe Kyle O'Reilly was coming back, and that's who gets beat up, or maybe even Roddy sacrifices himself and gets beat up by the guys to make it look like it's not him, but it is actually him and his squad. I don't know, but it just seems weird that Jay White was the target.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I'm
um,
saying. It's real convoluted, and
yeah.
so like I'm gonna
Dolores
trust the
says,
process.
remember Cole had the devil mask behind him in that promo in the locker room with MJF. Oh, so yeah, so
Sure.
maybe it is Adam Cole. So I guess we'll find out ultimately. We'll see. I'm here for it if they do it right. I don't have a problem with masked man storylines and attacking as long as they do it right and it's done well. So
That's the
uh,
key. It is.
so WrestleDream this Sunday. These matches I don't know what order they're going to be in the card, so I'm not doing them in any particular order. We'll just go through them.
Yeah.
So we're going to get Brian Danielson versus Zack Saber Jr. What do you think? Who you got?
Uh, dang it, right? So this is their retirement year. I'm gonna go with Danielson, and I go with Danielson in the hopes of, don't know how we're gonna circle back to it, but I do want Danielson to hold that belt up before he leaves. I want him to hold up the AEW World Heavyweight Championship before he leaves. So you let him get all the wins possible. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I don't, it's not for Zach's belt that he's been holding for a while. So
right.
um, it leads me to believe that Danielson's winning here. Um, you're not going to probably put Zach's belt on Danielson, especially since it's Danielson's end of his career last year or whatever. And,
Hmm.
he's not a New Japan guy at this point. So
Right.
um, uh, my guess is Danielson wins here. My guess is that we probably won't see Danielson take a loss in his last year. I'd be very surprised if he loses another
Yeah.
match in his career at this point. But this should be amazing. I mean, on paper, this match, could be
It
the
was
best of the show. I mean, easily it could be the best of the
it
show.
was supposed to be in Forbidden Door 1, but Danielson got hurt, so he's going to definitely make up for lost time.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, and then we will get Hangman versus Swerve, which we just talked a little bit about our contract signing at the end of Dynamite yesterday. I'm here for this match. Swerve should get the win. It's tough because I think honestly both guys at this point probably need the win because Hangman, even though he's Hangman and he's over because he's Hangman, he hasn't done anything in a really long time. It feels like he's just been hanging around for a really long time, just kind of here and there and taking a couple losses and maybe won a tag team or a trios match here and there that were Frankenstein. Like it's weird. I don't. So I get he's the Hung Bucks. He's with the Hung Bucks. So
Hmm.
um, they're the 6 man or the Ring of Honor 6 man champions, but I don't know. So and Swerve needs a huge win at this point, and he hasn't gotten it, and he deserves it. So I want Swerve to get this, but really both guys need to win. I mean, I don't.
Yeah. So, like I said, when they started this, we thought we were going to do a downward spiral of Hangman. We actually got an upward trajectory. I actually do like that.
Mhm.
Uh, Swerve needs to win this morning, Heyman, because it feels like, especially with the whole Darby thing, and even the Orange Cassidy thing, that one match he had for the international championship, he like we're this close to breaking the ceiling and let him being a main event superstar, but you got keep not letting him break glass. I think this is the part, like, so in this match, it's time to break glass. It's time to actually pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Right? You
Yeah, I
don't.
mean, this is my argument of Ricky versus Danielson too. Starks versus
Yeah.
Danielson too. The difference here is that Hangman isn't Danielson, right? And
Mhm.
and and Swerve. I mean, I think Swerve and Ricky are probably on the same, plateau level wise, but Danielson's up here and Hangman's still down here, really in the scheme of things. So I get why Danielson wins, but this feels very similar to me, where Ricky really would benefit more from the wins, and here Swerve would benefit more from the win. If Hangman gets the win again, it feels like you're continuing to hold Swerve down.
Right.
And that's unfortunate. I don't know that that's what's actually going on. I don't know that that's practically what Tony's doing, but that's what it feels like. So
Like unintentionally, but yeah,
yeah,
it's time to
yeah,
pull the trigger. And
yeah,
this doesn't have to be the end of their feud. They can have another match. I definitely see them doing best 2 out of 3 for them.
yeah, no doubt. Um, so that brings us to this match, which should be one of the better matches on the card. AEW World Tag Team Championship match, FTR versus Aussie Open.
Yeah, yeah,
Oi, oi, oi. Um, I imagine that Aussie Open probably gets a win here. The FTR's held the belts for a little while, and Aussie Open's been on the rise, and they've been getting the push overall. I know it's 7-star FTR, and they don't lose very much, so it
yeah.
is what it is, and they're the champs. And I guess if you're the best tag team or considered the best tag team in the world, you probably should be the champs. But I wouldn't surprise me to see Aussie Open get the win here, and I'm ready for someone else to hold the belts at this point. I
Right.
don't dislike FTR. I'm just ready for someone else to hold the belt.
It's their return to the championships have been lackluster. It's been
Yeah,
like, okay, dag, I'm not interested in them as champions. It's to go with self being champion. Like every opponent they face, I'm like, okay, they should be FTR, and that should not be what you feel for your champion in any aspect. Side note, Collision, they had the whole promo of Ozzy. They're like, we don't care about the titles. We just want to prove that we're supposed to be. I'm like, no,
Yeah,
no. You could
yeah.
have left that. You could have kept it to yourself. No, that was not great to say. And so this is still for the belts. I would have liked it again. WrestleDream, everything. The belts don't have to be on the line. I would have loved for them to have this because, like you said, we believe that FTR is going to win. So if I would have loved for this to be for the belts, let Ozzy win and do another one where they lose, but that is not the case. But again, so like I've heard that they did this before a year ago or a year and a half ago, and it was a great match. And they've been trying to work back to doing a rematch. So this should be a banger.
Okay. Yeah, I
Yeah,
missed that first match, so
me
I'd
too.
have
Me
to
too.
figure out where to find
I
that. I
think it
don't
was on New
know.
Japan.
Oh. FTR lost their friend, so they lost their shine.
No, 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 no. I thought about this when they were going against game Bang Bang Gang. It was way before Field left.
Let's see. So then we'll get MJF versus the Righteous in a 2-on-1 handicap match. I, I
So
can't imagine MJF's going to win here. This is further going to solidify. I think this is further going to solidify how good MJF is. He can beat the Righteous and retain these titles by himself. I think MJF defends these titles two, three, four times by himself in almost the same situation, gets the wins before Adam Cole comes back, and it just further just makes MJF look like one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet. I mean, I just think that's what they're trying to do here.
So here's the thing. When Roddy came out and was like, Adam, I need to talk to you. It's urgent. I thought they were going towards the lines of let me be MJF's partner until you come back. They might still do that, and I would prefer that more than the MJF winning all these tag team championships by himself. Because that does nothing for your tag team division. That one single person keeps beating people. So I'm
It
hoping
does.
they're going to announce that at WrestleDream where it's going to be Roddy that takes Adam Cole's place, and that further the feud without having that awkward father of how we're going to prolong this. That's a good replacement. Let them do that more than have MJF beat everybody by himself.
Yeah, I could see that. I'm here for that. I'd like to see, then you could have Roddy and MJF become better friends than MJF and Cole get jealous, or something like that. Yeah, no, I would be here for that if they do it right. I guess
For
it'd be interesting to see what
Adam.
happens.
Yeah,
But either way, I think MJF wins here. I'm,
definitely.
and again, they might at the last minute, make Roddy his partner. We don't know. We'll have to see. Card's always subject to change, right? So
Hmm.
they could do something at the last minute. But either way, I think MJF is winning here. At minimum,
Definitely.
he's going to win here with the help of somebody else. Probably he'll use
Yeah.
the diamond ring. He'll do something to get the win.
Yeah.
Um, then we'll get the trios match: Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, and Kota Ibushi versus the Don Callis family: Will Ospreay, Takeshita, and Slimy Guevara. So this one's interesting. I don't really like Chris Jericho bunch with Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, but it is what it is. I can't. God, this is so tough because Osprey. I don't want to see Osprey lose, and Osprey doesn't have bad matches, so it's going to be a good match. All these guys can really wrestle, right?
Yeah.
One of these things is not like the other only because of age, right? So Chris
Right.
Jericho's the only one that's kind of on the outside looking in just because he's so over the hill in comparison to the rest of them. But even him, if the worst wrestler in your six-man tag match is Chris Jericho, you got a pretty good fucking match, right?
Yeah.
So all six of these guys can really wrestle. It's going to be an amazing match. I can't imagine that Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega lose, but Will Osprey, I don't want to see Will Osprey lose either. So I don't know. I like the Callis family better than Jericho and Omega and Ibushi. So I kind of want the Callis family to win, but I don't know.
So here's what I think is going to happen is, so like I said, like you said, one of these things under the other. Will Ospreay feels real off being in the Don Callis family, right? I think in some part of this match, he's just gonna walk away. He's like, I don't even know why I'm here. I'm out. Bye. Right? Because when's the blow off match, right? Because the blow off match is all in, but evidently it's not. And even though it's a great story of Kenny losing because he didn't have Don, it's a good story. It needs to be done. So I think and hope that what happens is, like I said, Will Ospreay's like Don does either. I feel like it's gonna be Sammy. Sammy does something totally stupid and douchey, where Will Ospreay's like, you know what, bump you, bro. I'm gonna punch you in the face and I'm gonna leave. And then finally, it's Chris Jericho, Kenny, and Kodo to actually win.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yes.
All right. Then we have Christian Cage versus Darby Allin, 2 out of 3 falls for the AEW TNT Championship. I mean, I got to imagine Christian retains here. He just beat Luchasaurus for the title a week ago.
Well, he just made it official, but he has been
Yeah,
champion for a
yeah.
minute.
I don't know. I mean, Christian is such a good heel. He doesn't need a belt, but with the belt, it makes him that much better
Yes.
and that much douchier. So, like, I don't know. I really want Christian to win, and I don't think Darby really needs another TNT Championship run. He's already held that belt twice, I think, if I'm not mistaken, at least once. Um, and so, I hope Christian retains, but
It's a tricky one because they are in Seattle. That's Darby's hometown.
it is.
I don't. So yay, my mom, when they made this match, it's like okay, it makes sense because it's in Darby's hometown. Ugh, this is hard to predict. I'm gonna go with Darby, just because they've done Darby with Luchasaurus so many times, right? And
Yeah.
then but Christian told the belt, and it's gonna be proof that no, you do suck as a wrestler. It was Luchasaurus's belt, so I'm gonna go with Darby, unbeknownst.
Yeah. Um, then we're gonna get what they're calling the unified, and I'm trying to see here, unified Ring of Honor World Championship match. I'm trying to determine if it feels like uh so yeah, I don't, it doesn't say. Maybe Shibata's title is on. I'm not totally sure, so I'm not 100% clear, but either
Hmm.
way, there, we talked about this a little bit more before. I don't think there's any way Eddie Kingston loses
Mm-hmm.
here. He just got those belts. There's no way he's losing those belts,
Yeah.
especially not to Shibata right now. Not those belts. So what do you
It's
think?
one of them things where it's like WrestleDream, yes, but did the titles have because I don't want them to be unified the championships right now. I actually like the pure title, so
I do too. Yeah, I'm not
ugh.
totally sure why they would
You
do that.
I didn't think this through. Yeah, if that's the
Yeah,
case.
yeah. Um, so before we move on, real quick, Dolores wants to know if we think Edge shows up at WrestleDream.
I'm gonna say I feel nah. I don't. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel right
Not like
necessarily to
it's
me.
not the right time. You think he's
Yeah,
going to come to AEW, but not at WrestleDream?
I don't think so. No.
You think he's coming to AEW though at some point?
Yeah. If
Yeah.
nothing, to definitely be with FTR to have that one match, and of course to reunite with Christian real good time. Yeah, it's definitely happening, but I don't think it's
All
at
right.
WrestleDream.
We're down to our last 3 matches on the card for WrestleDream. We've got Statlander versus Julia Hart. This one's really hard for me to pick because Julia Hart's been on such a tear, but I can't
Hmm.
imagine Chris is losing the title here. And I don't know. I mean, at the same time, this is the only challenger that they've really built up for Chris
Yeah,
Statlander. So if she doesn't lose here, who she move to next? Are we going to get another? Is it just going to be the first in a series of matches between these two? Which may be okay if it comes off good. I don't know. My guess is that Chris Statlander wins here, but if so, I'm kind of curious on why they're. I guess they're just hyping Julia up so that Chris could look that much better when she beats her. But
yeah.
it seems weird to strap a rocket to Julia's back just to have her lose to Statlander in the title match. So I don't know. I could see this
So
going either way, really.
yeah, I think Statlander wins. This will be a great because no offense, I'm all for people going on winning streaks for a long time. I am so off of it. So this would be a great loss to Julia for this to be her first loss.
Yeah.
And like you said, if they want to venture back around this, I'm not opposed to that either.
Yeah. Uh, Then that brings us to the World Tag Team Champion number one contender fatal four way match: Young Bucks versus the Guns versus Lucha Brothers versus Orange Cassidy and Hook. The winner of this will get a match against the winner of FTR and Aussie Open. So, mm, geez, Young Bucks don't need the titles again. Lucha Bros have already held it. It leads me to believe it's either probably going to be the Guns or Orange Cassidy and Hook. I have a feeling. I don't know why. I don't think Tony Gunn thinks the Guns are ready to have the belts yet, so I don't necessarily think they're going to win. It really wouldn't surprise me to see Orange Cassidy and Hook win here. I Tony Khan really, 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 really likes Orange Cassidy, and I think he really likes Orange Cassidy with a belt. And I think that this would put Hook on TV. So it wouldn't surprise me here if Orange Cassidy and Hook won. I think that's my
And
pick.
it's so necessary though, because like after he got beat by Moxley, right? I think it would have been better for him to take a break. Just a break. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy and Hook are too mismatched for me. I love Guns and Bullet Club Gold. This is
Mhm.
they have leveled up so much being in that group.
I agree.
So I would not oppose to having Guns versus FTR two, and this would probably be way better than the first one because now they're getting actionable heat instead of like why are these people here heat?
Sure. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean I like the gun, so I'd be happy to have them get that spot. I think they'd probably lose, but I'd be happy to see them get that spot. And then the last match on the card, it's not probably going to be the main event. Like I said, these aren't in any order, but the
Yeah.
last match on the card, Ricky Starks versus Wheeler Yuta. So again, we talked about this a little bit earlier. I think Ricky has to get this win here. Um, Ricky is above Wheeler in my mind on, as far as putting wrestlers on levels. And
Yeah.
if Ricky can hang with Danielson and not be tapped out and go the distance, then he should be beating Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah, most definitely. We're like, so after he beats Willer Yuta, are we doing a whole go through the Blackpool Comeback Club thing? I'm not opposed to that. It's kind of weird for Danielson to be first and hope, and I guess having Moxley be last, but that'll be a cool story to tell. I'm not opposed to
Yeah.
it.
So Ricky then has a feud with Mox. Yeah, I'm not opposed to
Yeah,
that.
it
After
ends with
this,
Moxley. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not opposed to that. Um, so that's the last match at WrestleDream, and that brings us to our end of our WrestleDream preview. It is late for Nika over there on the East Coast in Florida. It's getting to what,
East
midnight.
Coast, dirty
So
South.
real quick, I'm gonna put up our. It's not real quick. It's a little bit lengthy, but we're gonna put up our Workhorse Wrestling Network commercial, and then we'll say bye and we'll be out of here. So here we
Okay.
go.
Hey everybody, this is the Workhouse Wrestling Network schedule for this week. Ladies and gentlemen, Mondays on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, you have entered the square circle at 11 a.m. Let me tell you, Sammy and ALW, they battling it out to see who will be the Enter the Square Circle champion. Listen, you can't miss an episode. It is riveting. Okay? So just a little secret. Tune in 11 a.m. on Monday. Tuesday, it's Seeing Stars, 10:30 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. But ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm about to break your heart. We're taking a break because your girl needs some rest, okay? But when we come back, it's going to be fire because we're going to be seeing these stars from New Japan Pro Wrestling and GCW and Stardom. You ain't going to want to miss that either. But then the real party started at 10:30 at night on Tuesday on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter at the Cookout, where they play fire games and talk hot topics and have a good time. You're gonna have to pull you up a seat because we're gonna feed you real good. Ladies and gentlemen, on Wednesdays, all 4 night at 11:30 p.m. That's where you're gonna find the WWE meet, okay? It is going to be Raw and NXT with Sammy and ALW, and they preview WWE pay-per-views. Can't miss it. Can't miss it. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Ladies and gentlemen, Thursday is live aftermath of Dynamite at 10:15 p.m. on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Listen, we talk all things AEW, Rampage, Collision, the Dynamite from the day before. We preview shows coming up. We preview pay-per-views coming up. That is your one-stop shop for AEW. If you want to find out what happened, tune in at 10:15. Then on Friday, that's when the party starts for the weekend. Friday Night Fights at 8 p.m. on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Starting off at 8 p.m. with WWE SmackDown. And you're going to get the SmackDown from Anika and Sammy, I tell you. But then our parents, one of the parents, CM and ALW, going to come in and they just going to rampage everywhere. So you got to see it, okay? But then you wake up Saturday morning, and you know what you're gonna get? Under the Radar with CM and ALW. And you know what you're gonna find? BTE, Impact, ROH, all these great things on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch at 11 a.m. Okay? If you missed out on the week, they'll catch you up. And it ain't gonna take forever either. Ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday night, it's Saturday Night is All Right at 8 p.m. When we watch AEW Collision, ladies and gentlemen, it's gonna be great. We have a great time. That's generally when we all come back together again and have a good time on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday's supposed to be our day off. But you know, if it's a pay-per-view, it's a Workhouse Wrestling Network. So make sure you tune in. If there's a pay-per-view on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we will be there. Ladies and gentlemen, you see this icon, YouTube audio, you can listen to us live, play hot games, talk hot topics. Just be great, okay? Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you see this icon on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, click it the next day and you can listen all to the party we had the day before. Ladies and gentlemen, also, last but not least, if you see this on YouTube audio, click it, okay? Because you know what you're going to get? You get to listen to us watch along live to pay-per-views and shows and have a good time, okay? Because we dropping gems. You got Sammy with the food, CM with the knowledge, Anika with the good hard movies and work, and you got ALW, who he just drops old school wisdom, okay? So make sure you join us. Until then, I want to let you know, peace.
All right. So before we go, just two quick things. Tomorrow night, Friday Night Fights, there will be no SmackDown watch along, just Rampage. Miss Anika has
Bring
stuff
it
to do,
back to the old
and
school.
Sammy is gonna enjoy his night off, I think, and it'll probably just be me and CM for Rampage. So that's tomorrow night. Then join us. Make sure you're with us Saturday on Collision at 5 p.m. for our Collision watch along, because we'll also be watching WWE NXT No Mercy. And that's on Saturday at 5 p.m. along with Collision. And then on Sunday at 5 p.m., we will have AW Wrestle Dream watch along. So join us for all those. Again, if you're new, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button on this video. We appreciate you. We know you got a lot of options for your watch alongs and your wrestling content. So if you're choosing Workhorse Wrestling Network, we appreciate you. Anything else you want to say before we say bye?
Wish us blessings. It's gonna be a long weekend.
All right. Peace.
Bye.